All right, let's talk about it. What really separates the people who build wealth from those who just seem to struggle? Today, we're diving deep into the core habits. And trust me, this isn't just some fluffy list. We're talking about fundamental mindset shifts, a real wake-up call, especially about how things like indecision and quitting too early can silently drain your energy and, yeah, your bank account.
So let's just get this out of the way right at the start. A little warning, taken straight from the source material we're looking at today. It says, and I'm quoting here, "If you have thin skin and get easily offended when told the raw truth, this is your cue to leave." So look, if you're not ready for some hard truths, if you're not ready to forge an unbreakable mindset, this probably isn't for you. But if you're still here, then you're ready. Let's get to it.
You know, when you boil it all down, it comes to this fundamental split. So many people think wealth is about luck or some secret formula, but it's not. It really truly starts with your mindset. It's a choice you make every day. Are you building or are you collapsing? Are you operating from a place of strength or from fragility? Let's break down what that actually looks like.
All right, first pillar, and this one is a big one. Your fortune, it's not built on money. Nope, it's built on the way you make decisions. Get this right and everything else can fall into place. This is the bedrock.
And here is the difference, laid out in black and white. When you analyze hundreds of millionaires, a really clear pattern emerges. The rich, they decide fast, boom, decision made, and they change their minds slowly, if they ever change them at all. But the failure mindset, it's the total opposite. They take forever to commit, and then the second things get tough, the first little gust of wind, they're out. They abandon ship.
Want a perfect example of this? Look at Henry Ford. He was so dead set on producing his famous Model T exactly as it was that people literally called him stubborn, obstinate. But you know what? That unwavering firmness, it built him an unimaginable fortune, long before he ever needed to change the model. That just goes to show you, conviction pays, big time.
Okay, so you've made your decision. You're fast, you're firm. Awesome. But now what? How do you protect that decision from all the noise, all the doubters out there? Well, that leads us right into our next set of crucial habits. It's all about building your mental armor.
Rule number 1, and this is absolutely crucial. You have got to learn to ignore cheap opinions. The source material calls them the cheapest commodity on earth. And that is so true, right? Everyone's got one. They're handing them out for free. But here's the secret. Successful people know that unsolicited opinions are almost always worthless.
Okay, next up, a really key discipline. Listen more, talk less. Seriously, when you're constantly talking about your big plans, you're not just wasting your breath. You're basically giving your playbook away to envious people who might actually be happy to see you fail. The truly wealthy get this. They know that real power lies in strategic silence.
Now this next one, this one's tough, I'm not gonna lie, but it is non-negotiable. You have to be ruthless about shutting your mind to negative and discouraging influences. Think of it like building a fortress around your brain. You have to cut off pessimism at the source. And this is the hard part, even when it comes from your own family or your closest friends.
And the final piece of this mental armor, you have to take down one of the biggest ghosts haunting society, the fear of criticism. That fear, what will my friends say? What will my relatives think if I fail? That single fear kills more great ideas than anything else. Period. The people who build empires, they just move forward anyway.
So that brings us to our third pillar, and honestly, this might be the most important one of all. If we started this whole conversation by saying indecision is the disease, well, persistence is the cure. It's the ultimate antidote. It's the engine that powers every single great success story you've ever heard of.
And I absolutely love this analogy from the source material. It just nails it. The average person gives up at the first sign of trouble, right? They throw in the towel. But that rich mindset, it takes massive willpower and combines it with a burning desire, and it literally forges a character as strong as steel.
And if you think this is all just some nice theory, let me tell you a story. Look at the writer Fannie Hurst. She received 36 rejection slips from magazines. She walked the streets of New York for 4 long years before she finally broke through and became a millionaire. Why? She just flat out refused to take no for an answer.
So you see, the key here is how winners look at obstacles. It's a completely different perspective. They see defeat as temporary. It's a lesson, not the end of the road. They never, ever see it as final. And luck? Oh, they know luck isn't something you just wait around for. It's something you make. You manufacture it with pure effort. I mean, look at people like W.C. Fields and Marie Dressler. They rebuilt their empires after they were 60 years old.
But here's something you gotta understand. This kind of relentless persistence, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's not a solo mission. And that's our fourth pillar. The elite, the top performers, they never operate in complete isolation. They know how to multiply their strength by tapping into the power of other people.
And how do they do that? Well, they have a few key tools. First, they form what are called mastermind groups. Think of it as an alliance of 2 or more minds, all working together in perfect sync towards one common goal. They're always looking for constructive cooperation. And what fuels this whole thing? An unshakable, rock-solid self-confidence, an absolute belief that they can make their plans a reality.
All right, for everyone who's stuck with us this far, who's been paying close attention, it's time for the payoff. We've reached the final revelation. This is the secret ingredient, the thing that ties all of these pillars together and turns them into one single, unstoppable force.
So what is it? Here it is, the big one. Persistence is not a magical talent. It's not something you're born with. It is simply the direct result of habit. That's it. It's a muscle. You build it. You don't just receive it as a gift.
And here's how that works, because it's pretty simple. Your mind is like a sponge. It absorbs and is shaped by whatever you feed it every single day. So, if you choose to practice courage, if you choose to practice taking action every single day, you know what happens? Fear just starves to death. It has nothing to feed on. It's that simple. You become what you repeatedly do.
So after all this, after laying out the entire blueprint, there's really only one question left. The one right there on your screen. You have the plans. So how are you going to forge your mind of steel? Are you just going to let this be another interesting thing you heard, or are you going to start building that habit today?
Look, if you're serious about this, if you're truly committed to forging that persistence and finally stop blaming everyone and everything else, I want you to prove it right now. Go down to the comments and type 2 words, mind of steel. Let's see who the real doers are in this community. Thanks for sharpening your ideas with us.